welcome guys, Miss Aholic here. We are going to go over word parts. Now you're like, what is word parts? Well, word parts are prefixes and suffixes, and we are going to go over 50 word parts that are important for fundamentals of science. That's what we've been covering this whole time. So I'm going to go through the first 25 and Miss Kelly is going to go through the second 25. So that's right, folks. You get both of us. All right, guys, we're going to start with number 1. The first one on our list is hydro. What does hydro mean? Hydro means water. Now, a little bit of a side bit for this is that a lot of you will know that I'm Canadian and that I'm from Canada. Hydro is water, but you know, we call our electricity hydroelectricity because most of our electricity in Canada or in Ontario is made from the Niagara Falls, which is a lot of water if you've ever seen any videos. So an example would be hydroelectricity. Okay, the second one on the list we have is in. What does inside mean? What could be inside but internal medicine? So that's internal. Would be a really good example for that. Number 3, trans. Trans means across. So like the Transatlantic Highway or the Trans-Canada Highway. They are, what do you think, across a country. So we can have transatlantic as an example for that. All right, the next one would be inter, which means between. I did kinesiology, love everything to do with muscles. Intercostal muscles are in between your ribs. So that's where that comes from, in between. So intercostal. Exo means outside. Exoskeleton, where do you think the skeleton's gonna be? On the outside. That's like on the outside. It's kind of like a turtle, it has their exoskeleton. So exoskeleton. So as you can see, even just from the first few that we've done, how important and how often we see this in medical terminology, anything to do with science. So these are really, really good things to learn that are going to come up throughout this year. Atmo, pretty common one would be atmosphere, means gas or vapor. Syn means together. So we've got a synagogue. What do they do at a synagogue? They come together. So synagogue would be a really good example of that. All right, Ms. Kelly, can we move on to the next section here? We've got hetero. Hetero means different. We are heterogeneous. We come from different types of cultures and things like that. Now homo. Homo means the same. So we could have, we're Homo sapiens. We're all part of the same species. So Homo sapiens. Okay, iso. It means equal. So isotherm, that means that they are equal temperatures. So if you see isotherm or isotope, that means that things are equal. Chromo means color. Okay, so that's where you have chromatography paper where color will separate. Chromatography. All right. Bi means double. What do you guys all learn to ride on? I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride. You guys know that song? All right, probably not. So bicycle means double. Macro. Macro means large. So macronutrients. That's a large amount of nutrients. So those are the bigger types ones. So macronutrients would be a really good example of that as well. Okay, endo. Endo means within, so that could be like the endotherm, layers of your skin, all within. Right, moving along here, we've got a sub. What goes down underneath in the ocean but a submarine? Like we all live. Yes, I sing along to a lot of songs. Yellow Submarine, guys. So sub means below or under. Submarine, that's below the water, marine. Con means together. We are all connected. So together we are connected. Anti, that means that we're against. So we can be against things like we can be anti-vaccines, we could be anti-abortion. That means that we are against those things. So anti-abortion. Micro, very similar to macro. Micro means small, macro means large. So we could do micronutrients. Okay. Photo. Photo means light, so things like photosynthesis, that's how plants grow through light. Or, as a lot of you like to do with Snapchat, photography. We're all really good at that, right? Right, so photography. Tele means a distance, it travels over a distance, so the telephone. Telephone. Okay, giga means a billion. A lot of your phones or your plans will be gigabytes. Means you have a billion bytes. Mega, like the Mega Millions lottery. Do you guys have that? Mega Millions. That's because it represents million. Kilo means 1,000. So if you have kilogram, that means that there are 1,000 grams. Centi. So that means that 1 in a meter. So if we did centimeter, that would be 1 out of 100. Milli, again, millimeter, 1 out of 1,000. All right, that is the first 25. Miss Kelly is gonna come with you for the next 25.
Salutations, my name is Mrs. Kelly and I'm gonna give you the other 25 on our word parts today. The first one we are starting with is poly. Now, poly means many. What comes to my mind is polyamorous, polydecahedron, and also polyester. Guys probably don't know what polyester is. It's what your grandpa wears. All right, number 27, geo. Geo means earth. That's like the geosphere. Geography. Anything that begins with geo means earth. Now we're going down here to Halo. I love to talk about Halo. It's one of my favorite video game series. Halo means salt. Now, why in the world would they call the game Halo if it's about salt? Well, it just so happens that the game Halo is based on a planet that was made out of salt. It's actually where the term salty comes from in gaming. He's so salty. Now you know. Moving on, ire or jar, whatever you wish to say there, means ring or circle. What I like to think of is that wonderful little sandwich from Arby's called a gyro, or some people say gyro. It's also a type of movement. A gyroscopic movement means that you go in a circle or in some kind of round motion. Finally, litho. Litho means stone on this particular category here. Litho means stone, like a lithograph. You probably don't know about those, but there were these old black and white pictures that people used to take in the 1920s and 30s. They were actually printed on stone first, and then they were put onto paper. A lithograph is actually just a stamp made out of stone. Moving on. Next up on our list, we got mono. Mono means one. What I like to think of as a monocle. Have you ever seen Mr. Peanut? He has one glass in his eye and a wonderful little top hat and cane. Mono means one, like a monocle, one lens. Then we have di. Di means two. Way I think of it is dissect. To dissect something means that you're separating it into two very distinct parts. Di means two. Moving on to tri, which means three, much like the Tri-Wizard Tournament in Harry Potter. There were 3 different schools involved with that. Tetra. Tetra means 4. Just another little gaming advice there. The very first Tetris game, T-E-T-R like that, before they put the I-S at the end, was originally called Tetra. It only had 4 blocks involved. The more you know, knowledge is power. Penta. Penta means 5. Like the Pentagon has 5 sides, or the pentatonics, have 5 people involved in them. They sound awesome. Hexa. Hexa means 6. Now, why in the world would they put H-E-X before the 6 like this? This actually goes back to, well, it's a little bit of Latin. Whenever someone would put a hex on someone, there would be 6 total words in that hex. That's what makes it a hex or a curse, because hex means 6. Hexa, 6. Hepta, down here at the bottom. Hepta means 7. Those of you that have ever looked at your vacuum cleaner, maybe your parents have made you vacuum, have ever looked at the filters, there's a Hepta filter. Hepta means 7 layers of filtration before it gets out of the vacuum cleaner. Moving on. Number 38, octa. Octa means 8, like an octopus or an octagon. Nona means 9, not your grandma, 9, that is correct. Let's see here, what would be a good example of a nonadecahedral? How about that? A 9-sided dice. Deca. Deca means 10. Like, well, Originally, back whenever they were first making the calendars in ancient Greek times, December was actually the last month. And it was only 10 months in their calendar. Since then, we've added 2 more months, so December is at 12. But originally, desa means 10. Therm means heat. It's how, like an exothermic reaction means that the heat goes outwards whenever a chemical reaction happens. Or an endothermic reaction, that means it gets colder. Like sometimes when you put on icy hot, ooh, it feels cold at first, then it gets hot. That's an endothermic and an exothermic reaction happening at the exact same time. Graphy means the description of, like calligraphy. That is the description of how you are writing. Geography, the description of the earth. Sphere means round, like the biosphere, the hydrosphere, the geosphere. All of these things are round. Stasis is the stationary condition of. You've probably seen a lot of sci-fi movies where they're in stasis or they're sleeping. They're in a stationary stopping condition. Moving on over here to number 45, we have verge. Verge means turn. Another way you can use verge means to converge, to come together and turn in an opposite direction. Then you have logy, which is the study of biology, psychology, hiptology. Number 47, ation, that means the act of. Like meditation. Whenever I go to meditate, whenever I'm in a meditation state, that means I'm in the act of being with myself or in the middle. Meter means measuring, like a meter stick. You know what I mean there. Whenever we say the word thermometer, at the end we have the word meter. It's measuring thermo, which means temperature. Ascent means becoming, like adolescence. You are becoming an adult. Adolescence, becoming an adult. Scope means seeing, like a microscope or maybe a telescope. It's an ending. That's all of our words, kiddos. Have a wonderful day.